Hello.
Hey, yes, of course. Good. So yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting. So I'll make a quick introduction. I don't have convenience. We'll be live streaming, so everybody's okay with that.
Yeah. The more people that
That's why I'm on. So that's why we're going to be using the mics, because otherwise they can't hear us. Even though it's
I do, well, I still do commercial communication.
So shall we? Wow, that's a, yeah. Can we get the red poster on? Let me know when it's done. All right, cool. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here to Machine Learning Mondays, another edition of Machine Learning Mondays. I think everybody knows who I am, but I'm Deliana Alexander, not everybody, as in the audience here. I'm Deliana Alexander, Executive Director from Get Miami, and we are a nonprofit organization that focuses on independent creators and the creator economy and where culture and technology meets, especially now. That's really, really relevant and important. And Machine Learning Mondays, we designed as a space where we have the conversations that shouldn't just happen at Silicon Valley boardrooms, but we feel that these are really important conversations that should happen here, where culture is being built right in real time. So we find that it's really, really important, and our topics have ranged from immersive culture and creating immersive entertainment with creators that are now at the Cannes Film Festival and premiered at South by Southwest. But today is especially important because cybersecurity and what's happening with the synthetic world that's permeating or meshing with the in real life world is so important because things are being edited in real time. Everything could be edited right now. Your persona, your identity, your creativity. So how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your image? How do you protect your IP is really, really important. So that's why we were really happy that at the last two Machine Learning Mondays, we asked the audience, what do you want to see? And they said cybersecurity. I think it was like at least a couple of people that proposed it. So that was really awesome. And we're really happy to have Liz Meha, who has been around Filmgate, and she proposed that she will curate tonight and bring the other two speakers. So Liz, without further ado, would love to welcome you. You're an educator and in cybersecurity and also in crypto. So would love to know a little bit more about you, and then please introduce the other speakers.
I will. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. Bear with me, guys. I still do get nervous when I have to speak publicly. Usually I'm in spaces as it's an audio thing. But yeah, hi, my name's Liz. The reason that I'm here is for blockchain education. I think one of the most important things, especially when they said cybersecurity, is making sure that we stay safe. So there was nothing that I felt more honored than to bring Michael Kay and to bring Ben along. Michael Kay is actually a cybersecurity expert, and Ben with AI. So we'll be asking them some questions, they'll be answering, and please feel free to also interrupt, because the point of this is to be educational, and we want to make sure that you're retaining the information, not just absorbing it and then going off and not remembering. So feel free at any point to raise your hand, interrupt, and ask any questions. But yeah, we're going to get started. So I'm going to introduce Michael Kay, who's with MetaMask. And Ben, who is the co-founder of Nestron AI and also Cursor Ambassador. Yeah. I think, here you guys go. All right, we're gonna have Michael go first. You wanna stand, Michael?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
And testing. 1, 2, testing. All right. Thank you so much for having me, Liz. Always appreciate all the invitations to speaking engagements and making sure that people stay safe. So my name is Michael Kay. I'm the senior BD manager at a company called Consensus, and also a product called MetaMask, which is a decentralized crypto wallet. We have over 30 million monthly unique active users, But to give you a little bit of background, I've been in the cybersecurity and IT space my entire life. I had my first cybersecurity company when I was 16 years old. Is the mic failing? Switch. Testing. Great. I had my first cybersecurity company as an LLC when I was 16 years old. I started doing website development and computer services for my friends, my family members, and people around me. By the time I was 20 years old, I opened up my first physical location in Nyack, New York, started to build up a much larger clientele, and eventually got acquired by a much larger IT company called CompuTuners that had our first retail location open up once we did our acquisition. And from that one location, we scaled and had 5 stores by the time it was done. I was the CEO of that company, helping scale multiple businesses, as well as over 20,000 residential customers, into staying safe, setting up their devices correctly, and making sure that they don't get scammed. Eventually, around COVID, what ended up happening was I exited the IT space, and I went full-time into crypto. Luckily, I ran into 2 guys in a Twitter space. Twitter spaces are like live discussions, and their names were Ohm and Martin, and the title of the space was called Web3 Security. And I was super interested in seeing it because I was just getting into crypto, which is considered Web3, but I'm coming from a Web2 cybersecurity background. But it was great to see that someone was mentioning security in crypto because there are so many scams and so many ways that people get taken advantage of. And a lot of the ways that we could stop getting scammed in crypto is the same ways that we could stop getting scammed in regular life. Web 2 threats affect crypto assets. Web 2 threats affect your AI tools. Web 2 threats affect your devices and your data security. So once I jumped in that Twitter space, we started talking about crypto security. They built a startup that basically stopped crypto scams, and they wanted me to be a brand ambassador after that first Twitter space. It was an unpaid position, and I did it for about 6 months. I helped them scale from 300 users to over 80,000 installs of the extension that was open source that we created. And at that point in time, they decided to give me a full-time job. I said yes, of course, and immediately I started to mention that, hey, instead of all 5 of us working remotely across the globe, why don't we all move to one hacker house? Why don't we really put in 24/7 deving out this application, getting it where it needs to be so that we can hyperscale it, all being in the same room. So we all went from California, Ohio, Florida, Australia, and moved to a hacker house in Austin, Texas. We lived there for a year and hyperscaled the application to over 130,000 users, and Consensus and MetaMask reached out to us after we had saved over $60 million for our users from scammers. And they wanted to acquire our technology, which basically stopped wallet drainers and crypto scams dead in their tracks. We ended up getting acquired by Consensus and MetaMask, and now our software is built directly into MetaMask, the largest crypto decentralized wallet. And over the past year, we saved our users over $650 million from scammers with our technology built in at the wallet level. So that's just a little bit of background and prerequisite. But if we could go to the next slide.
Oh, sorry, hijacking this.
What is that?
You just click.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, of course I can share.
Yeah, if you could do it for me. Great, awesome. So security and privacy should be a default in today's world because the world does not run without technology. You have a phone in your hands 24/7. You're connected to the internet, you check your emails every day, and you use your computers and your devices religiously. You can't even operate in today's society without them. So I think that the most important thing is to teach people about being a default when it comes to security and privacy, because you're not really being told about the security of these devices, you're just being shown how to use them, and a lot of people don't understand, how do you actually get your devices secure? How do you stay secure? How do you not get scammed? How do you know the difference between something that's real and something that's a scam? So the goal is, of course, to automate your device security and privacy by making it harder to compromise, harder to get scammed, and easier to recover yourself if things go wrong. And there's no need to take notes. There's actually a slide at the end of this presentation where I recommend everything in one place, super layman terms with direct links on exactly what I use myself to stay safe. Core principles are, of course, reducing unnecessary exposure, limiting trust. This is something that's a really big factor because a lot of people tend to trust everything. They trust anything that pops up on their phone or their computer. They hit allow, continue, next, confirm, just to move on to the next step without realizing what they're giving away. Owning and controlling your data. Currently, you don't own any of your data. You don't own the photos and videos that you upload to your Instagram or your Facebook, just like you don't own the money that's sitting in your bank account that's owned by the bank. Just like you don't own your own medical information because you've given it away to multiple doctors and dentists and hospitals over your time, and you don't necessarily know where they're keeping that information or if it's being sold on the dark web. There are so many variables that are out of your control. How do you actually get back control of your data and your privacy? And slowing down before you act. A lot of people, they get taken advantage of by scammers because scammers use your emotions in order to get you to do things. They tell you that you need to do something quickly, or there's danger, or there's something that's wrong. And this is important to remember, is that you want to slow down and really assess the situation. Don't let get your feelings or your emotions in the way. So why does all this matter? Because every app, every account you create, every extension you use in your browser, everything you sync to your iCloud and your Google account, all the permission requests and AI integrations that you enable, expand your attack surface and also data mine you. If we go to the next slide, please. So let's start off with software security. So the most important thing is removing useless applications, removing unused programs, apps, extensions, and connections, because every piece of software is made by a third party, and it basically, you're an open door when you're just leaving these pages and pages and pages of applications sitting on your smartphone, sitting on your computer. These are all data mining you. They're taking up space on your device. They're using background information. They're using your battery. Why do you need all these applications running? If you really think about it, when's the last time you audited your own devices? When is the last time you went through the extensions in your Google Chrome and said, do I actually need this to have permission to read every single website I'm visiting on a daily basis? Who's behind this company? What are they doing with this information? So the easiest first step, and again, the last slide really breaks this all down in one place, the easiest first step is going through your devices and removing things that you don't need, that you don't use. Because again, all these applications, these extensions, everything that you're using on your Windows computer, your Mac computer, your Chrome browser, your Brave browser, your iPhone, your Android, it's all data mining you. And you have to really think, do you want to give access to this application to know everything about what you do on your device? So removing useless apps, super important. The next thing that's important is updates. A lot of people defer updates. On your iPhone, when you get an iOS update, you hit later because you're busy and you don't want to think about it. The longer you hit later, the longer there are security patches that are not being pushed to your device. There are updates that help with stability. So it's very important that when there is an update available, especially for your main operating system, if it's a Mac computer, if it's a Windows desktop, a laptop, or if it's your iPhone, that you install that update. Now, there has been recent threats that come to supply chain attacks. Supply chain attacks are when an update is pushed by a legitimate authority, but somewhere in the middle, it is someone with malicious abilities or permissions to that supply chain injects something that is malicious. That might be malware, that might be a remote access Trojan. So what I recommend is don't be the first one to hit install update every time that you see it. Wait a little bit, see if there's issues. It might, it's releasing to millions of people at a time, and there might be something that you don't want to deal with. So updates are important, but you don't want to be the first one to do it. You want to wait a little bit, make sure there's no news coming out where it says like, oh, the latest Windows update makes it so your work computers don't turn on anymore. We've seen that a million times. The last variable here is stop allowing everything. I briefly mentioned it before. You don't have to hit allow, accept, continue, check off everything on anything that you're using. 99% of the time, you don't have to check off to all the terms of service. You don't have to hit allow in order to use the application. You don't have to give it permissions to listen to your microphone or to track your location in order to use it. So stop giving, you're willingly giving away all your information, your location, everything about you, and you don't have to. Try hitting deny and moving to the next step. It works 99% of the time. Let's go to the next one. Data privacy, removing data scatter. This is super important. Think about all of the accounts you created since you made your first email address. It's probably hundreds. Probably a lot of them you forgot about. Think about all the information you gave to all those websites, all those service providers. You gave them your credit cards. You gave them your home address, your phone number. Some of them you gave very sensitive information. You uploaded photos of your driver's license or your passport for verification purposes. Again, you're dealing with third parties that do not give a shit about your data. When they get hacked, when your data leaks on the dark web and they're making money off of it, you don't get anything for that. So think about it. Why not go back and purge all these accounts that you might never need to use again? For example, people have been sent Dropbox files in the past, right? Any hands? Anyone received files from Dropbox before? Someone says, hey, check the PDF out. There's a Dropbox, it's on Dropbox. Over the years, you probably created a Dropbox account. When you created a Dropbox account because you just needed access to that file, you didn't realize that you were installing an extension or an application in the background that you also gave permission to upload all of your documents in your documents folder to Dropbox for safe backup or safekeeping. You have those files sitting in your Dropbox account from 10 years ago with a password that you know is already compromised that you forgot about in that account. It's just waiting there for someone to tap into to basically data mine you. You might have uploaded, I don't know what you put in your documents folder, maybe your social security card, you might have put your deed to your house. All of this information is highly sensitive. Why are you allowing these services to take it from you? So think about it. Moving forward, I would say that the easiest way to take care of removing all the accounts that don't need to be there is by going to your Gmail, going to your AOL or iCloud or whatever account you have, whatever email you have, and just type the words account verify, account created, and you'll see all the emails come up for all the accounts you've created in the past. Go one by one to all those websites, sign in, and delete your account, especially if you're not using that website anymore. Minimize your attack surface, minimize your attack variables, minimize the amount of information that you have sitting on servers that you don't own, that the person that owns them does not care if they get compromised. Next, no, go back to the data privacy. Cool. Owning your data. So avoid signing into everything. You probably have your whole life on your iCloud or your Google account. Every login increases tracking and data aggregation. Who here has an iPhone? Amazing. Do you use iCloud? You probably have it on. Probably ran out of space on it, right? Maybe you said, oh, hey, I'll pay the $2 for the year for the extra space. It's fine. What you're not realizing is that you are uploading your entire life to one place, to one company. And what ends up happening is a lot of people tie their phone numbers to these highly sensitive accounts. They tie their phone number to their Google account, they tie it to their Twitter social profile, they tie it to their Instagram, they tie it to their iCloud, just in case as a recovery method. But the interesting thing about your phone number is you don't own your phone number. The phone company owns your phone number. And if someone wants to get into your stuff, all they have to do is call your phone provider, convince any of the thousands of people that are working there, socially engineer them into thinking that they are you. And once they have access to your phone number, guess what they're doing? They're going to apple.com, they're clicking forgot password, they're clicking I don't have my iPhone on me, they're tapping recover using phone number text message, SMS, that's a recovery method. They're getting a text message to now a phone number that they have control over, and they're using it to get into your iCloud. Now they have access to all the notes that you've saved in your secure notes app. They have access to all your iMessages, all your photos, your videos, your emails, everything. So there's a measure, there's a lever that you say, do you want convenience over security or security over convenience? You have to find a happy medium. Where would you save all that information if it wasn't on iCloud and you lost your phone? Does that mean you lose everything? No. There are ways to do this where you're not keeping all of your information in a single company's environment that doesn't necessarily give you the keys to access that data because they hold it for you. And finally, opting out of everything. So all the accounts that you do decide to keep, that you don't decide to purge, that you don't decide to delete, you want to log in and opt out of everything. Every single app, every single website that you sign up for has a settings menu. When you go to that settings menu, there are things that are enabled by default, like anonymous data usage analytics, or the ability to submit data logs and information about your device to the person that created that application. Why? Why do you want to give away all your info? Does it matter what location you're at? Not necessarily, but again, if someone's trying to get into your entire life, they have the ability to do so without you even telling them no, because you don't own your phone number. And once you don't own your phone number, you might no longer own your email address because they used it to recover and get into your accounts. And this is all preventable, by the way. This is so preventable. The easiest way to prevent someone getting into all your accounts through your phone number is simple. Remove your phone number from the accounts as a recovery method. My phone number is not tied to my Google account. It's not tied to my iCloud. It's not tied to my Twitter. It's not tied to my Facebook or my Gmail or my Instagram or anything. So the variable for an attacker does not exist. Even if they did SIM swap me, even if they did contact my phone provider and socially engineer the person working there into thinking that they're me, they would never be able to get access into the account because I've eliminated that attack variable. Less information to these companies is less attack variables. When I'm signing up for a service, I'm not willingly giving them any of my information. Unless it's required. Obviously, if you want to ship me something, I have to give you my shipping address, right? In those types of scenarios, it makes sense. But in all other scenarios, do they need to know your birthday? Do they need to know your gender? They ask you for it, but it's not required. But people willingly give it away. Why? So opting out of everything is super important, because if you were to open up your iPhones right now, and let's just do this really quickly, because I'm not trying to scare you guys, but this is pretty scary. Open up your iPhone and go to the Settings app. There's an app called Settings in your iPhone. Just let me know when you guys are there. Let's do it with yours as a reference point. Okay, so I don't think you'll fail because I'm pretty sure we took care of it. But once you're in your Settings app, go to Privacy and Security. I'll give you guys a second. All we did was open our iPhone, tap on Settings, and go to Privacy and Security. Hopefully you guys are there. The next thing you want to do when you're in Privacy and Security is at the top, you want to tap on Location Services. Once you're in Location Services, you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. They hide this stuff, by the way. You're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. You're going to tap on System Services. Like, we're a few menus deep already. Once you're in System Services, you're going to scroll a little to the bottom, and you're going to see something called Significant Locations. Significant Locations is enabled by default for anyone that sets up an iPhone. You yourself don't remember turning it on. What it does is it tracks everywhere you go and reports it back to Apple for making your daily commute easier, which is complete bogus BS, because when you have GPS enabled and you're using your Maps application, it's doing that live every time anyway. So they have a data set of all the places you've been to and everything that you do. So think about it. If, I'm not saying people here are bad actors or whatever the case is, but why? Because if someone did get into your iCloud account, guess what they would have access to? Where you live, what do you do every day, where you go to work, where your kids go to school, right? Why? Why leave that sitting there? You've never even seen that menu, but it's going to continuously track you until the end of time, unless you turn it off. Unless you remove your phone number. I'm giving you guys easy wins. These are simple setting changes. You can clear your history on that screen, and you can disable significant locations. It does not cause your GPS to stop working. Just like removing your phone number from your Apple account as a recovery ID does not cause your FaceTime or your iMessage to stop working. These are things that people are afraid to sometimes tap on because they think things will break. Nothing will break. You are willingly giving away your information for no reason. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so avoiding scams. We're almost done, guys. Avoiding scams. I know it's boring. So going to the source is super important. Why? Because every single day, people deal with fake phone calls, fake emails, fake text messages, fake DMs, fake mail, physical mail. It's just simply not real. All of it, 99%, I would say 99.99% of the time, is a complete scam and a waste of time. So what's important is if you ever get a message incoming telling you to do anything, whether it's to track your Amazon shipment that you might have placed a week ago, whether it's to follow up on a fraudulent bank charge on your Chase card, whether it's Your Coinbase account, someone just attempting to log in, click here to fix it. Or resetting your Microsoft account password. Or it's Microsoft, or it's Apple, there's something wrong with your computer at home. Or it's a romance scam. You get a random DM from some beautiful lady that, I mean, you're that special, or some beautiful guy, some very handsome guy that wants to, for some reason, randomly talk to you. A Nigerian prince, sure. That's a common one. But the thing is that some of us laugh, but it's not funny because people get scammed every single day millions of times from this type of stuff. It's sad. It's very sad, and a lot of it has to do with psychology. A lot of these people are lonely. Sometimes when they get an instant message from someone they've never met online before, and they start talking to them, eventually they're going to get asked for money. Eventually they're going to make up some story about how they're stuck overseas and they need $500 to get out of whatever. The concept is that if you are giving someone information or money, and it's an incoming request, it's a scam. So let's pretend you do get a fraudulent Chase card bank notification. Don't entertain the links or the attachments or the downloads from the supposed text message from Chase or the supposed email from Chase. You already know Chase's website. Go to the source to check if it's a real notification. If you ordered something on Amazon and you randomly get something from a FedEx shipping tracking text message, don't entertain the links within that text message that's supposedly from FedEx. Go to your Amazon account directly and check the shipping information. Go to the source. It's so important because if you go to the source, you'll realize that nothing incoming is real ever. Think about if they said this on the news, or if politicians said, guys, go to the source, it's important, don't believe everything incoming. Or the concept where our parents, when we were younger, told us, don't talk to strangers. Why is it that our parents then are believing some random person over the phone that they've never met before? Why is it that they're believing some random text message or an email and trusting that the person that messaged them on Instagram is a real person? Don't talk to strangers. You guys taught us that when we were younger. Simply the same thing back when it comes to your digital lifestyle. Anything incoming is going to be a scam, and if you're concerned if it's real, go to the source. Red flags. There's tons of red flags. If you care to look. I mean, 99% of the time, it's just human nature. Actually, everybody that's watching this live stream or sitting here listening, I'm pretty sure that 99% of you aren't going to do anything with all this information I gave you because you just think it's not going to happen to you. And that's okay. That's human nature. But eventually, when it happens to you, you're going to remember me standing here talking. You're going to probably want a link to my presentation so you can figure out, holy shit, what do I do? Right? I mean, think about it. How many people do you know that got scammed? You probably have family members that have been scammed. You probably have friends that have been scammed. She's pointing at someone sitting here that looks like they got scammed at some point, right? So the concept is that do you want to be proactive and make sure that you never got to deal with this shit ever, that your security is so locked down that it's a default setting in your head to not interact with anything, that you literally don't get spam, you don't get a million unread notifications, you don't have a million apps installed on your phone constantly nagging you to do things and update crap, you don't have 1,000 extensions in your Chrome browser slowing it down when you open up 2 tabs. Think about it. This is your digital lifestyle. I treat my digital lifestyle like I treat my physical. When I walk into my home, I know exactly where everything is. It's organized, it's clean. Most people, when you walk into their digital lifestyle, there's a million freaking things here and a million unread notifications. You don't know where files go when you hit save. You don't know. Like, it's a nightmare. Why? You can make it efficient. You can minimize all the variables. Get rid of all the third parties. Get rid of all the accounts you don't use. Uninstall all the crap you don't need. And that minimizes your attack variables. That makes it more enjoyable to use your device. You get more shit done. You don't have to deal with spam every day. You actually open your inbox and it's shit that matters to you. That feels really good. You become more productive. So yeah, red flags. There's tons of red flags. Pressure to pay quickly, doubling your money, guaranteed returns, luxury schemes, romance scams that we briefly touched on. It's tons of red flags. Slow down. Scammers exploit fear, urgency, and authority. We talked about that before. Feelings. They use your feelings to get a hold of you, right? When you get that random text message that says fraud alert, you're like, holy shit, right? You're like thinking like, I got to do something, right? It's a scam. When you get a random phone call that says, it's Microsoft, we found something on, you're like, oh my God, it's Microsoft. It's not Microsoft. It's never Microsoft. They don't call you. It's all red flags, and literally all you got to do is slow down and be like, wait a second, this this isn't real, because if I didn't answer this phone call and I continued on with my day, everything would have remained the same, because nothing was ever wrong. So slow down and ask, what happens if I do nothing for a day? Nothing will happen, because whatever you were about to deal with was a scam. All right, next. I got you. Bitcoin, do you accept Bitcoin? Why not? Just create a MetaMask and you could accept Bitcoin. You pay you right now. All right, AI, permissions, and the future of trust. I'm a little animated, sorry guys. AI expands risk. We've been talking about a lot of AI, right? AI stuff, right? Giving AI access to all your emails, documents, calendars, photos, your business, your data, your microphone, your camera, I don't think that's a good idea. But most people just hit allow, continue. I need it to organize my documents. I need to, at the end of the day, you don't even know what it's doing. You don't even know who you're giving it access to. Take a step back and ask yourself, what do I actually want AI to do for me? Do I need to give it access to my entire life to get this done? 99% of the time, absolutely not. I don't want AI going through all my shit. Policy, treat AI permissions like administrator access. If you're giving it access to all these things, then it's an administrator of all your stuff. It has the capability to do whatever it wants. It might wake up one day and say, you know what, all emails from Target and Chase Bank are considered spam. Delete all of them. And then when you wake up and talk to the AI and they're like, I took care of your inbox. And you're like, where's all my receipts from Chase and all my verifications? Oh, it was spam. How do you know it was spam? AI does some weird stuff. It hallucinates. You don't want to give it access to everything. This is serious stuff. AI-driven scams, cloning people's voices, spoofing phone calls, fake videos, deepfakes. You please comment if you want. If they can impersonate your family members. A lot of people are getting scammed because grandma receives a phone call. It sounds like their grandson's on the phone and he's in jail and he needs $5,000 in Apple gift card. So you got to go to CVS and slow down. Remember, slow down, right? Think again and say, is this a real situation? Am I dealing with something that's actually real? And this is why safety measures are important. Having a unique safe word with your family to prevent these types of scams. I have a unique safe word with my family because I'm in cybersecurity. I got to basically target on my back. I stop scammers from getting hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't like me. So I made sure that my family knows that anything incoming, unless I tell you the safe word that we both agreed on, is not real, ever. Because there's going to be fake emails from Michael K. There's going to be fake phone calls from Michael K. These people try to get into me and my family's stuff 24/7. But we have a unique safe word. That's not even an English word. It's unique. No one can guess it. That's real security because it's not written anywhere. It's not saved in my mom's iCloud notes. It's in our heads. It's offline. That's the most secure thing that you could possibly get. Having device and account segregation. When you want to use AI, but you don't want it to put all your data and privacy at risk. I'm sure a lot of people saw the news a few months ago when everyone was rushing to the Apple stores to buy Mac Minis because they wanted to use it as their AI devices and kept it separate from their main computer. The point of that is that they wanted AI to have full control of the operating system and do what it needs to do, but they didn't want to install it on their main computer where all their personal and business stuff is. A lot of people use one device for their video games, for their Zoom calls, for their personal shopping online, for opening random attachments, for managing their crypto assets. You use a single device for all those things, but in crypto, you're supposed to be your own bank. Banks have multiple layers of security, and we're expecting the masses to come into crypto when the masses don't even understand how to manage your passwords, how to employ device segregation, where you have a completely separate device from things that you keep sensitive stuff on. So even if you do accidentally install malware, even if you have no antivirus and you're on a fake Zoom call with Forbes because you're so special and they want to drop you a payload that's malware, you still don't affect all of your sensitive information. You've segregated your devices. You've segregated your accounts. Final slide. All right, my recommendations. This is what I use myself. I'm a cybersecurity specialist. I've been doing this for like 23 years. This is what I use myself. And I don't want to say the words, I've never been hacked, because that's like a bad omen. So I'm not going to say those words, but you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so what browser do you use? This is super important. Most people use Google Chrome. Disgusting. It's terrible. Why? Why is Google Chrome terrible? Because you are giving away all of the telemetry and every website you go to and every search that you do back to Google. They're data mining you. They've disabled ad blocking in Google's browser. You can't even add an ad blocker. Why? Because their primary business is ads. Why would they want you to block them when you're doing Google searches? The problem is that 99% of the time when you do a Google search, the first results that you see are not the real results. They're sponsored ads. And a lot of times, what malicious actors do is they buy those sponsored ads. You're looking for support for your Samsung dishwasher, you're calling a scammer, and they're about to get into your computer and, yeah, okay? You type Coinbase support because you can't get into your Coinbase account. You're not calling Coinbase. You're literally calling a scammer that's going to get in your Coinbase and empty your wallet. So why even think about those things? Why even worry that you might be clicking on the wrong link when you can just use a real browser like Brave? Brave is literally Google Chrome. Let me say that again. It's literally the same thing as Google Chrome, the same features, the same extensions, the same syncing of your bookmarks and everything. Nothing is different except it doesn't report everything you do back to Google. It has telemetry completely removed. You can confirm that because it's open source. And it has ad blocking built in. So you don't have to worry about clicking on the wrong link. They don't show up. Remember those easy setting changes I was talking about? You remove your phone number from your accounts. It's no longer an attack variable. Same type of thing here. You use Brave. Clicking on the wrong link is no longer an attack variable. Now, nothing's 100% secure. You still want to see and look at what you're doing. I'm not saying that if you use these things, you could just go and accept and allow everything and everything's going to be fine. What I'm saying is you want to get as close to 100% secure as possible, and starting off is your internet browser because you use it every single day. Stop giving away all your information to Google. Use Brave instead, and make sure, because of its built-in ad blocking, you're not clicking on the wrong shit. Because it allows ad blocking, there's an additional layer of ad blocking, which is called uBlock, that you can add to your Brave browser. It's even more security. Sometimes there's ads that look real, and you go to a real website, and then it tries to do some random. This is what stops that. So imagine these two combined costing you $0, and you no longer need Chrome and Safari and Edge and all these Firefox. And you just have one privacy-preserving, locked-down, secure, telemetry-removed, ad block built-in browser. Never got to think about all that crap I just talked about ever again. Password manager. A lot of people don't know how to manage their own passwords. They use the same password for everything. They use a rendition of it. They forget it a million times. They have to do password resets constantly. It's a freaking nightmare. Use a real password manager. LastPass is a terrible password manager because it's been hacked multiple times. LastPass is not a good company. If you're using LastPass as your password manager, you could consider all of your LastPass vault and credential data sitting on the dark web, waiting to be tapped into. So use a real password manager that's open source, privacy preserving, just like these other applications. It's called Bitwarden. If you're not highly technical, instead use Dashlane. Dashlane is also open source. It does cost a little bit of money. It's like 50 to 100 bucks a year. But when you never have to think about passwords and wondering if you're using the same one for everything, like this randomizes all your passwords, makes them all unique, makes it so that you hold access to your own keys to your password vault, unlike cloud backup services and password services like LastPass. We're almost done, guys. Multi-factor. This is an additional layer of security on top of your now strong, unique, randomly generated password. Right? You're setting up multiple layers of defense, so even if someone gets through one, they can't get through the other. Two-factor authentication is super important. All it does is it randomizes a code that changes every 15 seconds that you type in when you're initially logging into something for the first time. So in case someone does find your password, they would still need this random code that's generated to get into your stuff. Right? Because a password is a single line of defense, but instead you're using 2 lines of defense, two-factor. That's why it's called two-factor. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. You've been afraid of it. Stop being afraid of it. Enable it. Use it. One thing that I want to mention, Authy is a great two-factor service. Google Authenticator. You guys might have heard of that. Google Authenticator. That's also a good authenticator, but you want to make sure that you have cloud backup turned off if you're using Google Authenticator. Remember, if you have cloud backup on, like your iCloud that has cloud backup for all your photos and videos and everything, that means if someone gets into that account, they have access to all your two-factor codes too. So turning it off, make sure you keep them offline, you hold those codes offline, right? It's super important so you don't have an open door to your stuff in case someone does get into your shit. MOVAD, a VPN. A lot of people are confused as to what a VPN is. A lot of YouTube channels talk about VPN is security. VPN, it's not security, it's privacy. VPN is not an antivirus. A lot of people are misinformed. NordVPN is not going to protect you from malware. What will protect you from malware is a real antivirus. We'll get to that in a second. But a VPN is important. Why? Because every single day that you use your laptop, your phone, when you're sitting at home, you have the same public IP address. Your IP address never changes, if rarely ever changes. That means every single website you interact with, every person that you video game with, every single application that you install, if it's connected to the internet, they log your IP address. They know your location. They might not know exactly where you are, but they have a data set behind what you use and where you live. And again, another way to preserve your privacy is to use a VPN. What does a VPN do? It randomizes your IP address every hour, automatically, something random. So you're never using the same address every single day of your life. I have a VPN on all my devices, just like I have my two-factor, all my devices. I have my password manager, all my devices, ad blocking, and my browser, all my devices. I set this up once, and then I enjoy the internet, going to websites. I don't sit there sweating and shaking every time I'm going to click on a link. I don't sit there wondering if this attachment is safe. My antivirus tells me if it's safe. I don't wonder if I'm clicking on a sponsored link. My Brave and my uBlock automatically stop them from showing up in the first place. Right? You guys get it? It's like a lineup of like, these are the champions of your security posture. If you set these up once, you never got to think about this shit again. That's what you got to do. Finally, the antivirus, right? Using a real antivirus. Malwarebytes is a real antivirus. It has the best detection rates. Compared on VirusTotal, compared on multiple different tests against AVG, McAfee, all those are garbage. All those antiviruses are trash. They literally just, you're paying for nothing. You're paying for an open door when you're using them. Let's put it that way. Just like you're paying for an open door when you're using LastPass as your password manager. Just like you're paying for an open door, not really paying for it, but you are paying for it with your data by using Google Chrome. Use open source, privacy preserving real software, not a bunch of garbage that's marketed to us 24/7 that really doesn't do anything. So your entire cost to be privacy preserving, to have the right security, to not have to accidentally click a link and install malware because this blocks it, to making sure you have an additional layer of security on your accounts, to never having to reset passwords again because they're managed for you, to never thinking about Google tracking everything that you're doing. Your total cost is like what? $80 a year? 80, and for 5 devices? I have 5 devices. I have a laptop, a desktop, an Android phone, my work computer, and my crypto laptop. Yeah, I keep my crypto completely separate because I don't want anyone accidentally clicking on the... No, you can't. It's completely segregated. My 5 devices all have these things on them. It's a default of security. And if you have these things, in case you're using AI, and in case the AI hallucinates or pulls from a malicious repo and tells you to do some crazy shit like copy-paste a command into your PowerShell, or copy-paste a command into your Mac OS external, guess what kicks into play? Malwarebytes. It's going to stop it dead in its tracks. In case your grandma or your mom goes and starts, you know, she probably uses Google Chrome, right? How many searches do your parents or your grandparents do on a daily basis using their internet browser? Probably a lot. Aren't you afraid that they're clicking on scam links half the time because they don't know the difference between a sponsored ad? Just do this. You never got to think about it again. That's what I did for my entire family. We don't deal with scams. We don't have to because we set it up the right way. Security as a default. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Yes, if any questions, please. It's BS. So when you get a brand new device, whether it's Apple, whether it's Windows, whether it's Android, I don't just turn it on and start using it out of the box, guys. I don't know who touched it before. I want to reset it to factory defaults. Every device you get has that option in it. And when you get a brand new device, you should be resetting it to factory defaults. Why? Because when you reset it to factory defaults and you're setting it up fresh as if it just came off the line at the factory, you have the option to deny all that crap from coming in the first place. When you're at Verizon and T-Mobile and they're setting up your new phone, they're hitting allow on all that shit. They don't care. You have a million apps running on your phone in the background. They make money off of that garbage. But imagine taking control back and saying, hey, you know what? I don't need all this shit. Then you don't have to worry, am I clicking the wrong thing? It's nerve-wracking, especially when you're not technical. I think it should be illegal to auto-opt into all these things. There should be a law passed that says, hey, if you are a software provider, if you build operating systems, if you sell devices and hardware and laptops and phones, you have to make sure that by default, everything is off. Like the significant locations tracking that we showed you guys, right? That, like having to enter a phone number, we don't need to, right? Like all these things, they make you think need to be there, they don't. Yes?
When you travel, do you still, when you travel, are you still protected with all this setup that you have?
Yeah, so all 5 of my devices have this installed and set up, ready to go.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the internet provider?
No. So check this out. So this is my phone, right? And let me just unlock it real quick. Let me unlock it. Okay. So it says I'm in New York. I'm not in New York. Why you need to know where I am? Why does every single application need to know where you are? I mean, you might not care, right? You might say, it's fine. You know what? It's fine. All my stuff on iCloud is fine. Me not having a passcode for the sake of security is fine. Them knowing my location is fine. Okay, cool. Give me your phone. Let me look through it. Are you comfortable? Do you think it's fine then? No. You don't want anyone looking through all your shit. Especially when it's someone live in front of you, but meanwhile you're giving it away to all these companies on servers that you can't control. It's human nature to not care about this stuff until it's too late. I'm telling you, no one in this room is probably going to do anything with all the information I gave you until something goes wrong because you're comfortable where you are. You don't think it's going to happen to you. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen. If it hasn't happened yet, it's when. And when something does go down, because I have my stuff set up the right way, I'm not worried about nothing. I know I have my stuff offline, encrypted in a backup that no one can touch. I know that the safe word with me and my family is in my head that no one can get to. It's simple setting changes, simple processes that you employ as a default, and you never have to think about this stuff again because it's natural. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
So sounds like you prefer, Mike, want to, pop. So sounds like you like Windows and Android. What do you think about Apple products?
I think
to be
that
more, or they pretend to be more secure, right?
Yeah,
and encrypted.
So here's the thing. There's unfortunately a lot of people that buy Apple products think that they're impervious to scams, right? That there's no way they can get hacked. It's Apple. There's nothing wrong. I bought a MacBook for $4,000. Nothing can get in. None of that is true. Malware exists on Mac OS just like it exists on Windows. The spread of attack for someone that creates malware on Windows is much higher because Windows has a larger market share. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist on a Mac. Actually, on a Mac, what exists even more so is interfaces and designs that look clean with big bubbly buttons that look like Mac OS so you think it's real. All it takes is a visual change to trick you into doing something because you are confident that your Mac can't mess up. And that's why I recommend a real antivirus, regardless if you're using Mac, regardless if you're using Windows, regardless if you have an Android or an iPhone. This setup is for anything that's connected to the internet. That includes your phone, your laptop, your desktop, whatever it is that you're using, if you care on setting it up the right way once and making sure it stays that way. Otherwise, have a hole here, worry about maybe my Windows is secure, my Mac isn't. Why worry? Just do it the right way. Yeah. Last one. Yeah, last question. Yeah, last question.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So what will be
I
the
forgot. Thank you.
What will be the safe option for Google Drive, Dropbox that you prefer to keep it safe?
The question should be, what do you? Why does it have to be on?
I don't know. You scare me with the Dropbox thing.
Well,
So is it because I don't have that set up?
No,
That
no, no.
is-
This is software for your device,
Right.
not the data scatter and the accounts you've created on the internet.
Right.
Right. All of that, you have to go through and delete your stuff. You have to double check that, hey, there's nothing in my Dropbox. Actually, why do you have a Dropbox account?
To share certain huge files.
Huge files with businesses and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would do if I were you, keeping it as a business tool is one thing, but making sure you didn't accidentally check off to back up all your computer files and your phone files is another.
Okay.
Because when you install Dropbox by default on any device, just like when you install Google Drive on any device, just like when you install Microsoft OneDrive on any device, by default, backing up all your device folders is on.
Gotcha.
But you just want to use it for business.
All right.
So uncheck the variables that have nothing to do with what you're using it for.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys so much. Sorry for the wait.
Michael, wait, one more question, because I know my mom would ask you. Thank you again for
Yes.
doing this. But photos, obviously family photos you want to share and things like that. How is there a workaround for any of that?
So the thing is, this would be a much larger conversation, but the concept is that on my phone, I'm not signed into my Apple ID or my Samsung account. I'm not signed into Google Photos or iDrive, nothing. When I want to share something, I do it through Google Drive. When I'm done sharing that file and they've downloaded it to their device, I remove it from Drive. My Drive is always empty because I don't want stuff sitting there waiting for someone else to come in and look at it. Why? Why does it need to sit on Google Drive? You already gave it to them. It's done. Right? So it's like, it's just cleaning up your data scatter. You put something somewhere, you remove it.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks again.
Thank you. You can ask me after. Well, I'm on Twitter and on LinkedIn. My name on LinkedIn is my full first and last name. It's on the slide. Not the slide, the flyer. And on Twitter, it's Michael K, Michael, the letter K, .eth, ETH. That's my display name. My username is Mikashi, Mikashi, Mikashi. I do Twitter spaces, speaking engagements, YouTube shows, whatever, and I post it all on Twitter. Everything I talked about today is free. I never charge anybody a single dollar for all this information. I'll go anywhere and speak with anybody. I think that this should be known to everyone, and nothing should be paywalled when it comes to this good information. We need to keep people safe. We need to make sure that people understand how to keep others safe as well. Thank you so much. Twitter. Yes, yes. Correct. I post on. I'll link you. I'll show you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
First of all, very hard to overcome that. I think you conquered so many important factors here, from security awareness and also kind of learning about the attack surface. Before I start, my sincere apologies. I have a family emergency, so I have probably around 5 minutes left, and I have to head back to my home and let my babysitter go because she's blasting me. So very quickly before I start, I think Michael was able to kind of conquer everything that I wanted to say and even better. And the reason for that is because he brought tangible tools that you guys can leverage. The only thing that I will add, and I think it's a very broad topic, but when you have your own network, try to segment it. So meaning everybody have IoTs, right? Different devices that are smart devices connected from smart thermostat all the way to Alexa, whatever it may be. Create basically another layer of networks that will be for smart devices, and one that could be for personal computers, and one can be for your businesses, that if God forbids anything is being infected, a specific machine, there's not going to be any collateral damage, especially with a VPN that Michael has mentioned. I personally use home proxies, residential proxies, but I think this is a little bit of a step further, and I'll say legal in some cases. Joking, of course. One thing that I wanted to share with you guys, this is probably one of my first talks for a non-technical audience, and this is very exciting for me because I'm originally from Israel, but I grew up in LA, and all my friends, mainly their families are coming from the entertainment business in LA. I grew up in San Fernando Valley, which I, did not necessarily get exposed to the adult industry, which is very big there. But I can tell you that very recently, one of my good friends here works for one of the largest radio media companies in the world. And he's an executive producer, and he said to me, you wouldn't guess what happened to me, Ben. He knows I'm a security practitioner. And he said that somebody reached out to him, cloned one of his colleagues' voices that he's been working with for the past decade. So he knows the person like the back of his hand, essentially, right? They work together all day long for many, many years, and called him at 3 a.m. and said, hey, for our shootout the next day, I haven't paid one of our vendors. You got to do me a solid. Everybody got corporate cards, like any other corporation. You got to do me a solid, and can you cover that? And I'll expense it, and I'll justify that. And to make a long story short, there's just one simple example of how you can you can lose $50,000, and potentially your job, your reputation, and the list goes on. And I think nowadays, and this is something that Michael stressed very easily, is how all these tools are so accessible. I can clone your voice, each and one of you guys, in 3 freaking seconds, using 11 Labs, right? A very well-known tool that they're using for text editing, for voice editing, or voice to text, text to voice. And in many cases, you have open source tools that you can do it for free or nearly free. And I can impersonate anyone. And I can also, on top of it, interrupt your life. And this is a very disturbing thing that is now being accessible to each and one of us. And I think the fact that Michael's brought here kind of like end-to-end awareness from the prerequisite understanding of how the landscape goes and evolved, and all the way to how you utilize best practices. And the reason I'm saying this is because you touched on many things that I wanted to touch on, which I'm glad you did that, because I think you did it in a much better fashion, truthfully. So just very quickly, I'll just share a little bit about myself. I actually moved here to play basketball, believe it or not. I'm originally from Israel, as I mentioned before. By the way, it sucks you didn't upload my revised presentation, but I had a funny picture of how I used to look when I played basketball, and I had Brad Pitt without a shirt. But anyways, please make you guys giggle a little bit. I started a company about 2 months ago. I'm actually right now in fundraising mode. I'm very excited. Recent to that, I was doing consulting, so I was working with different governments, different manufacturing companies, and also startups as well. I can tell you that being a service provider was probably one of the crappiest things that you could have done, because when you're providing some specific agenda, it's a little bit more neat, and this is why I'm sitting here in, in fundraising mode. One thing that now I'm tackling, or my team and I were tackling, is sanctious apps on an enterprise. So basically, what apps are basically have the permissions to go and utilize specific data or specific, let's say, accessible for users in your enterprise. So I'll give you guys an example of Slack, Notion. Each one of them have AI component. How do you manage that when you got an enterprise with 700, 800 plus apps that are running simultaneously? Michael right now can log into Slack workspace, and then the next thing you can also log into your personal workspace, right?
Well, I can't.
Right. Well, in some cases, but
By default.
by default. Well, maybe Michael's more cautious about that, and he knows what he's doing, but most people don't know necessarily, especially for their work computers. But anyways, so a little bit about my background. I was a security researcher. I've done a lot of dark web research, which was very, very exciting, understanding how different groups, especially nation-state hackers, that are sponsored by specific countries that are looking to create anomalies and different attacks on different mission-critical infrastructure, especially here. That was an interesting experience. Had a chance to work with 2 companies that got acquired by Checkpoint, and also Rapid7. My last corporate role, I was a security architect in Microsoft, serving clients like Publix, Walmart, etc. And yeah, I think now this is the most exciting time, but also the most dangerous times. So I, just to kind of create a benchmark of the prerequisite that Michael has mentioned, I agree with you 100%. Awareness is the key. I do think that also creating an awareness and also creating a little bit of fear around it is also something that is a very fine line, because of the fact that you got to keep in mind we're evolving, we're scaling. We do need to utilize some of these core services, especially with these AI components, because especially in the film industry, in some cases you got to be the actor, you got to be the producer, right? You got to be the executive producer. Sometimes you got to be also the sponsor behind that. So there are so many different things that now are being compiled together that technology is allowing us to use. But at the same time is having the awareness to understand that how these things can also potentially crucify you and your business and your reputations and credibility is also an important factor. So starting off with awareness and all the way up to bringing it to execution. But I am a big fan of AI. I do a lot of events here. I'm the Cursor ambassador here in Miami. Actually have an upcoming hackathon on the 4th. Love to have you there, Michael. Also, if you're interested in being a judge, yeah, that would be great. So would love to sync afterwards. Let me see very quickly. I brought a little bit of information about the threat landscape and also some use cases. I will touch on the last slide that was important to me, the defense playbook. So in regards of deepfake, and especially when we're talking about also AI cloning voices, right? Which is something that I can tell you, if I want to be Morgan Freeman, I can physically be Morgan Freeman within 10 seconds, one by one, if not better than him, because he might, have a sore throat or something. So, is first of all, Michael said it better, but best, pick a word, right? Pick a word that within your inner family, your acquaintances, your friends, that will go and kind of create a multi-factor authentication in a sense, right? Kind of like something to vet the inquiry, right? The second thing is also verify out of band. I'll tell you this, I get invited to different events to speak, and not because I'm special or good looking, I wish. As a lot of them are phony. I can tell you that a lot of them, I do my research and I find out that it's coming from India, and I'm a big fan of India, but unfortunately, now we're about to attend an event and speak in an event that doesn't exist. And this is something that we need to understand, especially in the film industry, just to correlate back to it. You have many people that are reaching out to you on a regular basis. They want to get your bookings. Maybe they want to get some short films, right? You need to fact check it. You need to make sure that these people, when you're looking over their LinkedIn, you can see their connections. I don't associate with anybody that has less than 300 connections, and not because I'm cool, because I'm not cool, probably the least person to say that I'm cool here, but because of the fact that if you've been around the block and you're working in something that you provided, you're gained your credibility over at least 5 years, you're gonna have over 300 connections, whether you like it or not. You're going around, you're working, you're branching out of the house, right? You're meeting people. We're clearly here, which I would love to connect with each and one of you guys, right? That's already 20 connections plus, right? And it's an important factor to go and check that. Also, take that a step further. Check their emails as well. Nowadays, there are plenty of open source tools that you can go and check for email credibility, validation, and then on top of that, Michael mentioned it, 2FA on email, cloud, and banking. I don't know if you guys notice, OpenAI just announced that you can integrate with with numerous banking systems, which I'm not going to comment on that because it's beyond my jurisdiction. But I will say that you need to make sure that you're covering yourself. Nobody's going to do that. Even the authorities don't have the bandwidth to go and cover so many attacks at such a large scale. keep in mind, we're being targeted every day. In regards to AI voice cloning, one thing that I will give you guys my recommendation, I get spam calls on a regular basis every day. If you get a phone call from an unrecognized number, pick up the phone and let the person first of all talk. Don't say a word. Don't say a word. Let the person talk. And if the person doesn't verify himself or herself, drop the phone call. Personally, this is my personal, recommendation is I don't answer any unrecognized numbers. If you want to reach me, you can leave a voice message. You can leave a text message. I think everybody else is doing that. I think this is the valid thing to do. Regarding anything that you're doing, whether it's you're transferring files or you're sending any sensitive information like PII or whatever, even any wiring, make sure that there are kind of like segmentations around it. There's another person that is going to be verifying it, meaning that don't send the same day bank transfer. Use ACH or something that will take a couple of days, so you have enough time for those transfers to be pending so you can cancel them. I can tell you from my experience, and actually I'm really happy, Liz, that you invited me here, and I appreciate that because I have many friends that are in the film industry. I lived a decade in New York before moving here, and also growing up in LA, where many people are working really hard for their next gig and their next gig and their next gig. And guess what? Up until not long ago, I was doing the same thing as a consultant, right? It's very hard nowadays to create credibility, attract traction. And the most important thing is that we tend to kind of be on the loose hand and just go with it. We see something exciting, somebody reached out to us, and we're all for it. And we take a breath, sleep on it, fact check it, consult with one of your peers, one of your friends, making sure that you know who that person is or some type of indication about the company, the brand, anything around it. So we'll kind of give you the prerequisite understanding of what the heck is this inquiry that came out of the blue. And I'll tell you this, a website doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. If anything, the most usable thing that I will say is probably LinkedIn, because at least you can check their verification and when they were verified. I'll give you guys an example. I verified myself when I worked at Microsoft. I verified myself with my own company, and now I'm in stealth mode, meaning that I'm currently working on the IP, and there's no prerequisite information on the company, nothing whatsoever. Any digital footprints doesn't exist on the company, right? So how do you fact check that? Well, you go on my LinkedIn page, you see the companies I work for, you see the connections that I have, that builds some type of credibility. Is it 100% vetted and proved? No. But you can also, reach out to somebody, a second connection, a first connection let along, which is a no-brainer, and ask. Don't be shy. Say, hey, listen, somebody reached out to me. You don't need to also be explicit about exactly the level of engagement. But the most important thing is that, especially in the film industry, things are evolving and moving very quickly. And a lot of it used to be word of mouth, and now it's kind of becoming digitized. And I think it needs to be more of fact-checking around some of the day-to-day engagements, whether it's on a personal level or whether it's on a collective level that you're working with a team. So,
can I give a quick?
Yeah, please, yeah, absolutely.
So one quick tip that I want to mention is that you might be contacted as a creator, and it might be Forbes or Gucci or whoever, big name. It might say, hey, this is Jesse from Forbes. We want to do an interview with you. We want you to show us your stuff, and whatever the case is. All you have to do is say one thing. You say, sure, just message me from the main company account to confirm you're actually real. That's it. And every time, you'll never get a message from the company account because it was never real to begin with.
Absolutely. I use that method all the time. 100%. One thing that I'll leave it on that note is you can run away from AI. AI is not just about prompting a bunch of gibberish that will make you sound very smart, or generating a bunch of very cool cat videos, where people are kind of crying about where all the bandwidth and power and memory goes to. That's why memory now is very expensive, by the way, on the hardware side. But it's about understanding how you can utilize that to better yourself, but at the same time understanding how it can also create some type of anomalies, especially in your life and people that are close to you. And you need to be aware of that. Personally, I have a 5-year-old. I don't anonymize his or put an emoji on it or something like that. I think it's weird. Like, why would you post that? If you might as well just don't post anything with kids. But if anything, I don't think you can run away from it. I think everybody's digital information is being exposed. It's already out. Each and one of you guys. Whoever has Social Security, I can tell you that I have the database, yeah, and many other people. And most likely, Michael, you have it, right? And that's just a fraction of it. And it's not even that. And how I can correlate from your SSN all the way into your digital footprints, like your names, your addresses, your phone numbers, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And I can kind of create this reconnaissance strategy where I see your entire enchilada, right, in a sense. So the most important thing is that I don't think you should fear it. I think you should be aware of it. I think you should also get yourself more technical. And what I mean by that is you don't need to know code nowadays. You don't need to be also a security practitioner to understand how to utilize a VPN and encrypt your data from the receiver to the sender and vice versa. I think having an opportunity to branch out, like hoping to see some of you guys coming to the hackathon that we're hosting on the June 4th in Miami Lab. And by the way, I don't get paid for this. This is something I love doing and I'm very passionate, is having AI work for you. You stir the ship. And it's the minute that you become clueless about it or you neglecting it, like running it autonomously, right, in automate mode, this is where you start becoming a bit negligent about these things. And I think nowadays you need to take it to your advantage. Learn about how to utilize those tools, understand how those frameworks works, also how hardware works, how also on top of it, you can utilize your job, your passion, your career. And it doesn't matter at what stage you are, you can create wonders, but at the same time, be more security aware because of the fact that it's a very thin line between creating major and drastic mistakes to scaling yourself and promoting yourself and branding yourself. So that's what I have to say about that. Michael, thank you for making my presentation so much easier. No, I appreciate it. I think you set the tone very early. If anything, it's an absolute pleasure to speak with each one of you guys. My office is in the lab, Miami and Wynwood. I have an open door policy. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and if there's anything that I can help with. And also, get yourself into hackathons. And the reason I'm saying that is not to come off patronizing or anything like that. I've been coding for a long time, and I can tell you that I started very late learning how to code. And nowadays, especially with AI, it's unbelievable. You can do it all. I'm probably the least artistic person, probably in the entire city here or in the metro here. And I can tell you that I'm creating and generating things that, just been sitting in my back of my mind, and I didn't know how, that I have these type of skill sets. And then on top of it, putting my flavor and my authenticity into it, it's just a winning equation. And I truly advise you guys to branch out, try. Nobody's more technical than you. Nobody's more advanced than you. It's where you at within your path and your vision, and make it happen and push your idea, and go do what you're passionate about. Whether you need to fundraise, whether you need to allocate new resource to, but just make it happen. And I truly think that now in this new era, we're gonna see more millionaires and more billionaires than we've ever seen throughout the entire lifespan or probably human existence. So, and I'm quoting Elon Musk on this one. So, thank you for having me. I really got to get going. I'm happy for follow up with any questions. Liz, feel free to give them my information, email or anything like that. So thank you so much for having me.
I saw that you have one for the information. Can you put it so we can take a photo?
Did I put the info? I don't think I.
No, you didn't.
It's
What's your LinkedIn?
Ben Milstein. It's like the biggest kosher name you'll see.
Well, at least your name's on the first one. I do know that.
No, our names are on the flyer, so.
Okay, much better, thank you.
Of course.
Those are sophisticated.
What is your company about, or can you talk about it or not?
Not right now. Hopefully in
What is
3
the
weeks.
hackathon about? What is there a theme?
So there's no agenda, and specifically I wanted to gear that around anybody that wants to build. I don't care if you already shipped the product, you already have an existing company, want to work on a new feature that you've been exciting about. Come in, try something, build. I'll help you. We'll get hands-on together. There's already 300 people signed up. I'm anticipating having at least 300 people showing up. It's usually the half conversion rate, so 600 to.
What is it gonna be?
The lab.
Yes.
Yeah. And also I have an office there as well, so whenever I'm there.
When is it gonna happen?
June 4th, from 6 p.m. All the way till midnight. We're gonna have some exciting prizes. We're gonna be having also really great judges. And there's gonna be a bunch of people there. We're all collaborating. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend at least giving it a shot.
Is there a fee for that to get in?
Say it again?
Is there a ticket price?
Free. Completely free. It's gonna be food. It's gonna be great vibes, drinks too.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, the catch is you gotta be intoxicated with your prompting, you know? Don't quote me on that.
What are you gonna sell to us after that?
Yeah. No. By the way, I'm just an ambassador.
Thank you.
I'm doing this completely for free. If anything, last thing I will say is I moved here 3 years ago from New York, and I've always been back and forth from SF and New York, and I've been missing having kind of like a building community, people that are just coming in. I don't care what you do for a living, just come in with some aspirations and hunger to create something with technology. And I'm glad that I've had the luxury of doing that for the past few months, because I got to meet amazing people that I've never had a chance to meet in my career path, like you guys. And to me, it just helps me expand my horizons and allowing also other people potentially to expand their horizons and do good things, inspire others, and narrow that technical gap that everybody's been kind of claiming and fearing. It's like you're speaking to a broker on Wall Street, and they're telling you what they've been investing your money in, and you have no idea where the money go. It shouldn't be that way, right? You don't need to understand how system architecture works, or what type of languages or frameworks I've used. You need to know the outcome, the end result, and this is what AI is giving us nowadays. So, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Before we leave, can we take a group picture on
Sure,
stage?
yeah.
Is that okay? Before Ben leaves.
If my babysitter fires me, you guys are getting me a new babysitter. I'm just saying.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
You take it? Okay. I think so. Like that.
Yeah, you're making me look bad, bro.
Do we have all of us?
Absolutely.
Oh, great, thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, my profile small numbers that you have.